like to provide you all with a lot of entertainment, but I'm slightly winded these days. We are fortunate to have in our family several musicians. My brother Roy, if you give him a hand please, from Springfield, Missouri. Y'all remember last year Roy came down and when I wasn't able to play, and Roy came down and played with Valarie, and they did a couple songs. And Roy and I are really the only two brothers in the family that has really ever pursued music at the rate that we have. And we're several years apart in age, not several, but about 10 years difference in age, and both of us have fell in love with the same style of music. Now he's coming to bluegrass, but you know, them old hippies from the 70s are hard to pull them in there sometimes. And Roy's kind of filling a big spot for us. Southern Drawl was my family group. My wife Amy on the upright, and our son Donovan on flat top, and then Valarie on fiddle and mandolin, and I played banjo. We spent several years doing a pre-show for the Oak Ridge Boys in Branson, Missouri. And then once just to be honest, once a teenage boy discovers teenage girls, sometimes they forget what music's about. So our son, he fell in love with the love of his life and run off and got married. So Southern Drawl we kind of had to refire our gun and figure out what we was going to do. So Amy and Valarie and I will always be Southern Drawl, with the hopes of someday seeing our son Donovan play with us again. But in his absence, we couldn't ask for a better musician than my brother Roy. I want to thank John. I want to just talk to you folks for a little bit about something. And it's not any more than just the fact that I can't perform the way I have been over the years. But I can still talk, and that's one of the advantages of being up here and having a captive audience that I have. I haven't made any prepared statements or anything, but I wanted to just talk to you about community, which was something that Charlie Robinson, he marked on earlier, and something that the SEBA organization is about. And when he said that, I thought, well, somehow he's got in my head figured out what I was going to talk about. But I've seen a tremendously amazing thing happen. And, you know, I'm the carrier of what's going on. I'm going to carry this to the end. And I'm doing it because of all the people that have become a part of my community, a part of our community. And my wife and I both had full-time jobs. We both worked hard, you know, and we were on the highlight of our twilight. Both of our children had grown up. They were out of the house. It was just her and I. And I come down with this illness that I have. Well, I'd had it for years and years, and I had just got to the point of where it got out of hand, and I got very, very sick. After I realized how sick I was, we lost it all. It don't take but a minute for you to realize that everything that you have in life, it doesn't mean anything if it's of value to you. If you have something that you got to hold on to that you can't turn loose of, it's meaningless to you. It has no value. A car, it doesn't mean anything to you. It has no value. You know, you look at your asset report and you think of all the great things that you have, a house and a boat and a car and all those things. My wife and I had all that. My wife and I had a home. My wife and I had a car. I sold my boat to buy a banjo, but I have a lot of banjos, so that's just how I am. But in the loss of all those things, something grew out of that. And it's community. And it's what every one of you doing out there today that's helping me by not hanging on to what you know that you can't take with you when you go, because I've been right to the apex of death several times, and I've realized a lot of things that the value of a man is really in his shaking hand, in his words, you know, and what he stands for, what he represents, what he means, and he says something to you, if it's true or not, you know, if it has value in his voice and his honesty in what he says, and you can trust a man. We get to where we can't trust people anymore. We've come a long way from where God had the spirit of man to begin with. He had to come down here in the spirit of his Son and show us exactly what community was all about, and how we can heal each other, and how we can love each other without consequences feeling bad about it. We just have to learn that again. And as the generations have grown, we've lost that. But I've found it in bluegrass people that love this music, and people that are really down to earth seem to cling to this type of music and this type of fellowship. And community, once again, is the most important thing. And John Colburn taught me something that I thought I'd never see in a lifetime, and just how one man who never knew me, didn't know me from Adam's house cat, he brought together all these people, and just because of the boldness and the generosity of his heart, expecting nothing in return. And that's something that we all should be proud to know John because of his givingness. And I'm really proud to be a friend of John's because he's done a lot for my family. So I wanted to tell you all that sometimes I may not seem to be in the best spirit right now, but when I get myself straightened back up, it's been a 2-year struggle. I'm going to have a transplant in June, which they don't do a lot of these transplants, but fortunately for me, that the transplant doctor that actually invented the procedure and has had the most success is my doctor. And he has had 940 successful small bowel transplants. And it's a new mark in medicine, and I'm not a guinea pig by no means, but I am another statistic to the transplant community. And that me being of an O-negative, I'm an O-negative blood type donor to begin with, it always gives them, the doctor told me it was a curious anticipation for giving me this because they want to see how the outcome is going to really be. They expect great things, and they all live in faith. All my team, my doctor's team, are all people of Christ, and they all live in faith and believe that what they do to me is going to bring me back to where I was, which was fortunate to be here amongst all you great people, but also living a better life than I'm living now. Because my life now is pretty preoccupied with medical stuff, and it's just, nobody wants to spend the rest of their life going through this. It's not something that at 47 years old that I expected to happen to me. So I'm going to walk this walk for you, all of my community, all of the people in the community here. I'm here and I'm walking this walk for you and all your generosity. And I want to tell you how much me and my wife really appreciate that.